Today is Independence Day in the United States of America, July 4th, 2023. Thank you so much for joining me. Throughout this holiday, we are prepared to endure some of the most shallow and hollow representations of patriotism as defined by white supremacy in this country. It is the type of patriotism that waves the American flag but will burn a Black Lives Matter flag. It will wave the thin blue line flag in support of police officers, but it will burn the LGBTQIA flag. It is the type of patriotism that seeks to undo all of the progress that was made in the 20th century, yet and still it will be lifted up today as well as throughout the rest of the year as the hallmark of patriotism. And in today's episode, I want to discuss why it is critically necessary for those of us who are people of good faith, those of us who are fighting for justice, those of us who have fought, our ancestors fought and died in this country's defense. In every single war, Black people, we have had people stand and fight for this country and die for this country since the Revolutionary War. Every single one of us, Black people, marginalized communities, other minorities, people of color, the LGBTQIA community, it is incumbent upon us to snatch away from these traitors the mantle of patriotism and not replicate its emptiness, its platitudes, its inability to make America a more perfect union. The patriotism that we're dealing with today wants to make America, quote, great again, which is to take it back to a time before any of us had rights. No, we're looking for an America that is a more perfect union. And I want to begin today with a clip from James Earl Jones as he recites a portion of Frederick Douglass's famed 4th of July speech, What to the Slave is this 4th of July.
Fellow citizens, pardon me and allow me to ask, why am I called upon to speak here today? What have I, or those I represent, to do with your national independence? Are the great principles of political freedom and of natural justice embodied in that Declaration of Independence extended to us? And am I therefore called upon to bring our humble offering to the national altar and to confess the benefits and express devout gratitude for the blessings resulting from your independence to us? I am not included within the pale of this glorious anniversary. Your high independence only reveals the immeasurable distance between us. The blessings in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought life and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today? What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days of the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is a constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty, an unholy license. Your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciation of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence. Your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes that would disgrace a nation of savages. There's not a nation of the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed. Oh, had I the ability and could reach the nation's ear, I would today pour forth a fiery stream of biting ridicule, blasting reproach, withering sarcasm, and stern rebuke. For it is not light that is needed, but fire. It is not the gentle shower, but thunder. We need the storm, the whirlwind, the earthquake. The feeling of the nation must be quickened. The conscience of the nation must be roused. The propriety of the nation must be startled. The hypocrisy of the nation must be exposed, and the crimes against God and man must be proclaimed and denounced.
That is James Earl Jones giving a rendition of Frederick Douglass's "What to the Slave is the 4th of July." I absolutely love this speech, especially if you read it in its entirety. It's rather lengthy, and Frederick Douglass goes into so many different facets of society. He even goes through a condemnation of the Christian church because of its role in slavery. But one of the portions of the speech that James Earl Jones read that stands out to me the most is the portion where he says, this, above all else, this is not a time for convincing arguments, but scorching irony.
At a time like this, scorching irony, not convincing argument, is needed.
That is so representative of our time now that it makes me laugh, but also sad that the conditions of the United States of America have not improved such that it is above scorching irony, or rather, even more precisely, sound arguments. That's not the remedy to our problems today, because the other side understands that they're being illogical. The other side understands that they're being irrational. They understand that they're being hypocritical. And all of those are mechanisms. They're tools for their agenda to be accomplished in this country. And so when you find yourself up against an opposition that refuses to adhere to sound logic and reason, then you have to go with a different approach, which is to scorn them, to mock them, to deride them. Is that not where we are today? Because the more time we spend trying to craft arguments to help the other side see what they're doing wrong, the further the other side runs with their political football. And their political football includes devastating the rights of every single group that's not white, male, and Christian. This is not hyperbole. In fact, this is the power structure that they have self-identified.
And the far left want to break down the white Christian male power structure of which you're a part, and so am I.
That was Bill O'Reilly, formerly of Fox News, speaking to then presidential candidate John McCain, explaining the power structure in this country. And you will notice today, July 4th, Independence Day, as they wave their American flags, that they're waving it not for a diverse country. They're waving it not for a pluralistic country. They're waving it not for a melting pot. They're waving it for a very specific power structure, and that is the power structure of white, straight Christian men, also known as white supremacy. And when we come back, we will discuss how these so-called patriots are actually traitors. They have betrayed the United States of America because America dared to try to be inclusive.